Good day, folks. Good day. Hope you guys are well today. All right, for this video here, I'm going to be making a response to the question of the week, number 43, a question that was posed by our friend Kingsley Taylor. So as usual, I'm going to read his question, and then I'm going to follow up with my response. So, I got a question and want to know if this happens to you or not. I can read a dialogue and fully understand every single word in it while I'm listening to it at the same time. But when I'm not looking at the dialogue while listening, I can't understand all of it like I did when I was following along. It's kind of weird to me, but is this normal, and does it happen to you as well? Thanks, Kingsley Taylor. So, as usual, thanks for posing such question. A lot of people have this problem. I'm hoping when you're a beginner and when you're just starting on a language, this is a very, very, very normal process. So don't worry too much. It's very normal. It has nothing to do with you. It's just a matter of spending the time and have the experience with the language. So, does it happen to me? Like I said, it happens to everyone. Let's talk about the the problem here. So, your main problem is you're just starting on a language and you don't have much experience with it. So, what's going to happen is with these particular dialogues, when you go through them the first time, like, okay, let's say today we're going to do a Tagalog, a dialogue from the Teach Yourself Tagalog. When I sit down and I go through the dialogue thoroughly, matching up the vocabulary with the vocabulary in the vocabulary section, then I will have a full understanding of what's going on in the dialogue when I look at it, obviously, because I've already looked up the vocabulary words. So following along and listening, I'm not going to have a problem understanding because I did that. Now, the problem lies is when you try to listen to it, like, let's say randomly, you don't have the text, you just turn the audio on and listen to it. You're going to have problems understanding the full dialogue. You may pick up some words, but you're not going to understand everything as well as you did when you went through the dialogue with the text. Why? Because your ear hasn't become accustomed to the language yet. Okay, once your ear starts to become accustomed to the language, you've heard things over and over again. You have more exposure. Then when you hear certain things, you will know you will know the meaning right away. Okay, for example, someone who has okay, let's look at someone who has experience with the language. Okay, someone who studied, I don't know, Tagalog for, I don't know, 5 years, 10 years. They're pretty much fluent in the language. If you give that person or play a random dialogue from them from the Teach Yourself Tagalog, let's say, it doesn't really matter. It can be somewhere at the end of the book. This person has never picked up a Teach Yourself. But when you play that random audio for them, even if they haven't seen a text, haven't used a text, or haven't used a book, they're going to understand the full dialogue. Now, there may be some vocabulary they don't know if they don't use it, but I think overall they will understand the dialogue and understand what's going on in it. Why? Because they have the experience. They went through this process. They've listened. They've heard the language so many times to the point where when you say something to them, you utter a word, a phrase, they will understand what it means. Even if it's like some sort of expression. You say an expression in Tagalog or whatever, even if they didn't understand the expression, the idiom, they will be able to actually break down the meaning of those words because of this experience that they have. So this is something that you have to go through. You have to spend more time listening to the language and just, watching videos, speaking with the people. So I would say don't worry too much about this. Just move on. And I've said this in the past. If you don't understand everything in a dialogue when you listen to it, it doesn't mean that you can't move on. Okay, if you can look at the text and you understand it when you see it, that's fine. Then go ahead and move on. Don't stress yourself out. Or what you can do is do what I do. I like to listen to dialogues 500 to 1,000 times, and I do that. I do this for a reason. My main reason for doing this is to listen for the rhythm of the language. Once it starts sounding like music to me, then I know it's time to move on. Once it sounds like music, I can remember everything in the dialogue easily because of that. Just listening to it over and over again, I can understand it word by word because of all that listening. But for some people, it's too much, and they don't want to spend that much time doing that. So just move on. Listen to it a couple times. Make sure you understand what's going on when you look at the text, okay? But don't worry too much about it. If you listen to it and you say, oh man, I didn't catch that, just move on, because what's going to happen is these words are going to come up again in the future, and you're going to hear them over and over again. So when you hear them, you can say, I know what it is. I know exactly what that is because I've heard it before. So another point, what was it? I had something else I wanted to say. Oh, like this also happens to many people who are at the beginning stages of learning a particular language. Like when you have a conversation with someone, okay, they may ask you a question, they may say something. Let's say they ask you a question. They ask you this question, and then you look at them like, okay, I didn't quite catch what you said. Could you repeat it? And they repeat it again, and you still didn't get it. Then once you ask them what it meant in English or whatever your native language is, and they tell you, you say, oh my God, I knew what that was. You knew what that was, but you didn't understand it. And it goes right back to what I was just talking about. When someone tells you, you know it because you saw it, you looked it up, you matched it, you looked it up in the vocabulary section and matched it with the dialogue. But when you heard it, it's like your ear is not ready to how can I describe it? Your ear is not ready to take it in yet. You still need to train your ear to become accustomed to this sound. And this happens to a lot of people. It happens to me as an experienced language learner. Anyone who's learned a language, okay, and had to go through the painful stages at the beginning, they've experienced this. And all it is time. It's just time that you have to spend on the language. So I like to refer to this as seeing the matrix. I know it's silly, but as I always like to do, I like to use these different jargons and figurative language, you know, to have fun with the language. But I call it seeing the matrix. Well, I'm not ready to see. I can't see the matrix yet if that's happening to me. If you say something to me and I didn't understand it right away, and it was basic, I can't see the matrix yet. You're able to see the matrix once you're able to really start to understand a lot of things that that are thrown at you. So that is it. I'm going to wrap this up. We're already 8 minutes in this video. I hope I covered everything. So yeah, again, don't worry too much about it. Just move on, or you can listen to the dialogue hundreds of times, 500,000, however you want to do it. But if that's too much, just move on. That's it. Because if you stay persistent, and this is with anything, if you stay persistent, then the results are going to come. Okay, you follow the teach yourself or whatever you're doing, your comprehension is going to get better. It's just inevitable. That's how it works. So there are really no shortcuts to understanding something without listening to it for long periods of time. Okay, so yeah, that is it. That's my input on it. If you guys have any questions, you guys want to contribute to this video, help out our buddy here, Kingsley Taylor, which it's pretty much a no-brainer. You should be fine. Feel free to post a video response, make a comment in the comment area. Otherwise, thanks for viewing, and have a good one, and talk to you guys shortly.